Welcome into the Saints Insider Podcast postgame show. I'm Zach Ewing, live from the Caesars Superdome. Good afternoon, everybody. Shall I say great afternoon? For the first time since last November, we have a victorious Saints team in the Dome. It's been 11 months, almost 11 months, since the Saints beat the Cleveland Browns here. And wouldn't you know it, coincidentally, that was the last game Taysom Hill played for the Saints as well before returning today. Taysom Hill, not a huge impact in this game, but the New Orleans Saints get it done against the New York Giants, 26-14. We will be with you for the next, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, however long we want to go. We will be joined from the locker room by our Times-Picayune NOLA.com writers, Luke Johnson, Matthew Parrish, Jeff Duncan, Rod Walker. They will all be here and tell me what the Saints are saying about their first win, about the first win in the career of young Spencer Rattler, who well documented he was 0-10 coming into this one. He is now 1-10, and that sounds a whole lot better. The first win in the head coaching career of Kellen Moore. He was 0-4 coming in. He's now 1-4. That 1-4 sounds a whole lot better. We'll talk about big days for Shaheed. We'll talk about really big days for the Saints defense. Kool-Aid McKinstry, Jordan Howden, with some huge plays on defense. And we will get to all of that as the Saints get into the win column for the first time in 2025. Their last win was also against the Giants. That was on the road last December. As I said, their last home win was against the Cleveland Browns last November. So we're now in October, so you can do the math. That's almost a full year. But, it was a fun game. And it's got to feel good for Saints fans. Let us know how you feel. Spencer is behind the scenes. He will be showing your comments. He's going to send some of them to me, and I can respond to them live on the air. We are Jim Darryless today, unfortunately. Jim helps to fill the time, and I know he gets a lot of you all riled up. But we are without Jim today. We do have Norman Bell running the camera, and we're going to go through this one a little bit together before our writers come out from the locker room. Dylan Smith says, glad to see some fire in the coach on that roughing the passer call. Okay, number one, that roughing the passer call was ludicrous. I don't know what you're supposed to do as a defensive end who works his tail off all game and finally gets a free run at a quarterback. And yeah, Carl Granderson hit Jackson Dart pretty hard, but he did it legally. He wrapped him up. He hit him from the shoulders. He didn't land on him. He didn't leave his feet. I don't know what you're supposed to do. There was some slight contact on the back of Dart's helmet, I guess, which is what the ref called. But if you can't do that, let's just skip the flag, man. And I'm not one of these guys who's like Neanderthal, give me football and I want concussions and CTE and all that. No, but if you can't hit somebody like that, I don't know what we're doing here. That was. Yeah, and the game was mostly there was a 1% chance the Giants could have come back after that, I suppose. Long touchdown, onside kick, another touchdown. They could have won the game. But I don't know what we're doing. And, yeah, I agree with you, Dylan. It was good to see some fire from Kellen Moore. He was ticked off by that. He actually – I will say this. He got ticked off early in the game, too. Kool-Aid McKinstry got called for a pass interference call, which was a close call. I think it was probably the right call. He knocked the pass away, but he did hit – I think it was Darius Slayton, or maybe it was Wan'Dale Robinson. Can't remember which Giants receiver. He did hit him just slightly before he knocked the pass away. So I'm okay with that one. Then he kind of threw the red challenge flag down disgustedly on the next play, which was a Daniel Bellinger catch at the 1. That one was kind of iffy too, although I know a lot of people had a problem with that being upheld. I thought Bellinger had the ball when his knee hit the ground. Then he rolls out of bounds. Then he loses the ball. The problem is the catch rule is just not clear. But I didn't have a huge problem with either one of those. The roughing the passer was awful. And, yeah, it's good to see Kellen Moore kind of show some fire. I think he knows this team deserved a win. And this team, after that Bellinger catch at the 1, you get Jackson Dart touchdown pass to Theo Johnson. Saints come down, get a field goal. Then the Giants go right down the field and get another touchdown throw from Dart to Theo Johnson. It's 14-3. And it's 10 minutes left in the first half, and you're going, what the hell are the Saints doing? Are they really going to get blown out at home by the Giants and fall to 0-5, and we're just going to keep doing this? But to their credit, man, they responded in a big way. 23 straight points, unanswered points to end the game. Saints win this one 26-14. Lots to like. Rosenfield 10. Great game by the youth. Kool-Aid, Howden, Sanker, Riley, Miller, and Brzee all stood out. Rattler played very well. I mean, I think it's good to shout out all those guys. Like, there's some things you could nitpick. And I think, honestly, Blake Grupe is probably more than nitpicking at this point. He missed 2 more field goals today. That's 5 misses in 5 games. That should be like the entire season for an NFL kicker. You should miss like 5 or 6. The way kicking works in this day and age NFL, like you get 5 or 6, 7 misses the whole season, not through 5 weeks. So that's a problem. And the Saints are going to have a conversation about that. That's a big negative. Other than that, like, yeah, some nitpicking, some problems with the coverage early. Rattler still had those throws where he's just slightly behind a guy and it causes an incompletion, or maybe they catch it and don't get the yards after catch that they needed to get. But like when it was 14-6 and the Saints get the ball back, I'll tell you another thing to nitpick, some special teams like the kickoff returning early. They're like catching the ball with their back to the play and only getting out to like the 9-yard line and then the 13. But the biggest play of the game probably, both from a figurative sense in terms of turning momentum, but also a literal sense because it was an 87-yard touchdown. Spencer Rattler sees Rashid Shaheed pop open. Shaheed beats the coverage from the corner and the safety, bounces it to the outside. Rattler saw it, hit him in stride, and if you hit Rashid Shaheed in stride, Rashid Shaheed runs. And he ran and ran and ran. He caught the ball, I think, just past midfield and ran like the last 48 yards or whatever to the end zone. Nobody's catching that guy. And it was an 87-yard touchdown to cut the Giants' lead to 14-13. And that's the longest Saints play from scrimmage since 2016, when some guy by the name of Brandon Cooks played in today's game too, caught a 98-yard touchdown pass from Drew Brees in the season opener against the then Oakland Raiders in a game that I almost hate to mention this, in a game that the Raiders ended up winning on Derek Carr's last-minute touchdown pass and 2-point conversion pass. Crazy game. It was like 35-34 or something like that. But, yeah, Brandon Cooks had a 98-yard touchdown catch in that game. That's the longest play. He also had Cooks, I believe, had an 87-yard touchdown catch later in that season. That was matched today by Rashid Shaheed, 87 yards. That cuts it to 14-13. Maybe your second biggest play of the game comes late in the first half, and it's a fumble because Blake Grupe had missed a field goal that could have given the Saints the lead. Okay, this was a long one. This was a 52-yarder, so you give him that one. Okay, you're going to miss those from time to time. With a minute and a half left, Giants cross midfield 2 plays later on a pass to Cam Scatterbo, and then get into field goal range of their own on a pass to Darius Slayton. But Demario Davis popped the ball loose. Jonas Sanker is Johnny on the spot. Jonas on the spot, if you will. Ball bounces right to him. He returns it back into Giants territory, and the Saints are able to drive down for a shorter Grupe field goal on the last play of the first half. They take a halftime lead, 16-14, their first halftime lead of the season. Giants started the second half with the football. Again, drive across midfield. This time, they didn't have to force the fumble. Jackson Dart did it on his own. He just dropped the ball like I'm going to drop the mic. Just dropped it. And that time, Johnny on the spot was who picked that one up? Cam Jordan picked that one up. Cam Jordan dove on that ball, and that led to, get this, that Saints possession, which started at the 10:52 mark of the third quarter. That was their first possession with the lead the entire season. First time they had the ball with the lead the entire season. To that point, coming into this game, it was 43 drives. 4 of them they were tied. 39 of them they were behind. So add in, I think, 5 first half drives where they were behind for most of them. So you're looking at darn near 50 drives the Saints had to start this year before they got one with the lead. They cash it in with a field goal. Did have some. You want to talk about nitpicking? This is probably a bigger one too. Red zone, man. Red zone. Saints had the ball in the red zone, I think, 4 times and did not score a single touchdown. Just a bunch of Grupe field goals. That one made it 19-14. And then your I don't. Maybe this is your biggest play of the game. I don't know. You got three candidates, but the Giants down 19-14 get into the red zone themselves and have a 2nd and 7. First play of the fourth quarter. Cam Scattaboo runs the ball. The Giants had, in the second half, they were really kind of methodically moving the ball. Just 3 yards here, 5 yards here, 3 yards here, a lot of Scattaboo. This time, Brian Brzee gets in there and punches that ball out from behind, comes loose. And again, sometimes you need some breaks to win these NFL games by double digits, and the Saints get one. Ball squirts out right in front of Jordan Howden. He makes a clean scoop. Before anybody knows what's going on, he's got a 10-yard head start. And Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's down there blocking. Jordan Howden gets the touchdown, 86 yards. Shaheed was 87. This one was 86. And just like that, it's 26-14. And then the defense did the rest, man. Giants drove down, had a 4th down play where Kool-Aid McKinstry gets his first career interception. Should not have caught it. He caught it right here at the 5-yard line down here, went out of bounds. Had he just knocked it out, the Saints would have had the ball at the 33, so he cost his team 28 yards of field position. Not great, and Saints ended up having to punt. But then Kool-Aid kind of makes up for it with his second career interception. Jackson Dart throwing a fastball, and Kool-Aid just reached out and snagged it. That's turnover number 5 in a row. Saints pretty much kill the clock at that point. They get a 4th down conversion, Rattler to Shaheed. Got it all the way down to the 2-minute warning. Grupe misses the 46-yard field goal again. Got to have a conversation about that. But at this point, there's less than 2 minutes left. You get the awful roughing the passer. Giants go down, and this time it's just a simple turnover on downs, not the 6th straight turnover here in the red zone again. And Spencer Rattler, man, good for him. He gets to take a knee. That had to feel really, really freaking good for him to take a knee at the end of an NFL game. I'm sure he flipped the ball to the ref. I hope he got it back. I hope either he or Kellen Moore got that ball for their first career win. And you got to feel really good for Spencer Rattler. I mean, that's just amazing moment for him. And he played a good game. Again, there are things you can nitpick, but his final numbers, man, they will win you games in the NFL. 21 of 31, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, no turnovers, was not sacked. His passer rating was 99.5. Taysom Hill threw a pass, 19-yard completion to Juwan Johnson. One of only 2 catches on the day for Juwan Johnson, actually. And Rattler, by the way, also added 21 rushing yards on 6 attempts. So he got the job done, man. 246 total yards for him. Had the touchdown. No turnovers, no sacks. Compare that to Jackson Dart, who in his second career start, a lot of people are saying Dart is the next coming. And he played well early in this game, but he finishes 26 of 40 for 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was only sacked once, but only a rating of 73. He did run for 55 yards. So, Jackson Dart's very promising, but we got to stop with this. Why didn't the Saints get this guy? Why didn't the Saints get that guy? The guy they've got, he's good enough to win some games. Is he good enough to quarterback a playoff team? I don't know. Probably need to get a very good defense and running game. But he's improved, and he's good enough to win games. At some point, I still think we see Tyler Shuck this year, but that conversation gets put to the back burner for now. Spencer Rattler's going to start next week against the New England Patriots. So I think you put that on the back burner. Some more stats. Again, Taysom Hill had the 1 completion for 19 yards. It was really great play call. It's 3rd and short, and they had already run QB power with Taysom Hill a couple times in the game. And so the Giants are all up on the line of scrimmage, and instead he just drops back, and he kind of actually underthrew Juwan, but Juwan Johnson's so open, he makes that catch inside the 10 for an easy first down, led to a field goal. Taysom Hill actually 6 carries for -1 yards. Other than that, he didn't do much besides that 1 completion. He did have a 2-yard run. He did have a couple of first downs, but he also was stuffed a couple times. So, maybe some rust for Taysom. Kendre Miller led this team in rushing, 10 carries, 41 yards. Alvin Kamara only 8 carries, 27 yards, but he did have 4 catches for 28 yards. As mentioned, Rattler had the 21 yards rushing. So all told, Saints run the ball 30 times for 88 yards. 2.9 yards per carry, not what you want. 88 yards total, kind of low. Giants did a good job. The Giants had a weak rushing defense. Didn't actually come to fruition in this one, but Saints stuck with it, 30 rushing attempts. And, if the Giants are going to put 7-8 guys in the box and make you throw it, got to beat them with the air game, and the Saints did that, most notably on that long pass to Rashid Shaheed. the 87-yarder. Shaheed finished with 4 receptions for 114 yards and a touchdown. So only the 4 catches, but you had the 87-yarder. You also had the 8-yarder on 4th down that kind of put this game to bed at the end. Chris Olave, who came in, I think, top 5 in the NFL, came into this week top 5 in the NFL in receptions. He added 7 more for 59 yards. He got targeted 11 times. We mentioned Kamara, 4 catches, 28 yards. Juwan, 2 catches, 17 yards. Devon Vele, 2 catches, 13 yards. Kendre caught 1 for 8 yards. Brandon Cooks, 1 for 5 yards. And Spencer Rattler, 1 catch for 0 yards, and then he threw the ball again, which you can't do. So even the Saints' brain farts were kind of funny in this one. Like Spence just catching that ball and just chucks it again. I don't know what he's thinking. You can't do that. It was incomplete as a penalty. That's fine. Saints were in control at that point. My other favorite moment from this game, we're going to give Grupe a lot of grief for the missed field goals. Blake Grupe had one of the most spectacular tackles I've ever seen in my life. Giants had a big kickoff return coming, I think after the big fumble return by Jordan Howden, and they're trying to get back in the game. They had a big kickoff return, and it would have been even bigger. Blake Grupe comes in like a torpedo, takes out the kick returner for the Giants, and then he goes out like a top, spinning on his back on the sideline. He did like a full 720, spinning around, and his teammates were fired up, man. That was like as excited as they were for Rashid Shaheed's touchdown. They were that excited for Blake Grupe taking out. I can't think of the kick returner's name right at this moment, but it was spectacular. It's one of my favorite highlights of the week. Just little Blake Grupe is like my size going in there and making a big blow up NFL tackle. So Taylor DeMarco, is it realistic to think the Saints try out a few kickers this week? I think if they were to switch kickers, the guy who they would go to is in the building. Is Charlie Smith on the practice squad, the Irishman, who they've kind of been stashing on the practice squad through the international player program, international pathway program. That you get an extra practice squad spot if a guy's an international tryout. Charlie Smith comes from Ireland. He's got a huge leg, and his problem has always kind of been consistency. You see him in training camp or in the preseason, and he'll like bomb a 58-yarder and then miss a 38-yarder. Right now, Blake Grupe's not consistent anyway, so I don't know if you have a guy who's inconsistent but also gives you a chance to maybe make a 60-yarder. I think if you wanted to have that conversation, the conversation starts with Charlie Smith. So I don't think we'll see tryouts. I think that would be the conversation. I don't know if we're there yet. Like Blake Grupe had such a great preseason, and he actually had a good day in Buffalo last week. He hit a 54-yarder in Buffalo as one of his 2 makes last week. So, and he hit a 53-yarder today, but then misses the 52, misses from 46 late in the game. So yeah, it's a concern. There's no doubt it's a concern. And I think it's time to have that conversation. I don't know if it's time to make the move. Kind of going backwards, Collins says, it feels like Kendre is slowly taking over as the lead running back. Like, I could see that being next year. Kendre Miller is RB1 and Alvin Kamara is into more of a 3rd down role or something. I'm not sure we're going to see it this year. It's funny. Saints Insider Podcast, we had a bold predictions episode right before the season. And Jeff Duncan, who is already crowing about it, Jeff Duncan's bold prediction was that Kendre Miller would lead this team in rushing. Okay, he led the team in rushing today. Now, Alvin Kamara had a big game. I think he had 99 yards against the 49ers, so he's still got a pretty sizable lead. He's got like a 100-yard lead in that. But it doesn't sound as crazy as it did at the time. Could Kendre Miller lead this team in rushing? I mean, if there's an injury to AK or if AK gets traded, which I know has been kind of thrown out there by a few people, I doubt that happens. Just because I think he wants to be here, and I think the Saints want him in the building. And like, is that worth less than like a 3rd or 4th round pick you would get for him? I don't know. I think they would. I think they hang on to him, but that would be the other scenario where Kendre Miller would probably lead this team in rushing by default. Without that, I don't think he's going to be the lead back, but he's certainly taken on a bigger role, Collins. And you're right. He had not only did he lead the team in rushing, but he had 2 more attempts than Alvin Kamara. He had 11 touches. Kamara had 12, if you count receptions, but 10 rushes to 8. And it seemed like late in the game, they wanted Kendre Miller in there running, getting those tough yards in between the tackles, holding on to the football, all that kind of stuff. So I think Kendre, maybe he's taken a small step in that direction. Another comment from Stefan. Rattler is playing too status quo. I'm curious to know exactly what you mean by that, Stefan. Like in a game like this, if they've got the lead, you want the status quo. You don't need him to do anything spectacular. And in this game, when they were behind, he did do something spectacular. He throws the bomb to Shaheed that goes for an 87-yard touchdown. So I'm not sure I know what you mean by that. If you mean he's not going to carry the team and win you games, then I agree. But I don't think you have a QB on this roster who's going to do that. Like Tyler Shuck's not coming in his first career start and carrying you to victory either. Taysom Hill is an extremely talented athlete and he's a very valuable player, but he's not carrying you to victories as a quarterback right now either. So I'm not sure what you mean by status quo, but like he is the man for this moment. Okay, and the Saints are 1-4, and they are still not likely to make the postseason. I mean, let's be real here. But I think that you keep going with Rattler next week. You probably keep going with him the week after in Chicago. We'll see what the conversation is at that point. If the Saints lose a couple games and they're 1-6, again, I think it's just smart for the franchise to see what they've got in Tyler Shuck at some point. But as we talk here on October the 5th, week 5, I don't think that point has come, and I don't think that point will come until the Saints are sort of, maybe not mathematically, but like realistically eliminated from the playoff chase. And with 4 losses, you're not yet. I mean, if they beat the New England Patriots next week, I think I saw Patriots are favored by 3.5, something like that. We'll see how they play tonight in Buffalo. But like, that's not a game where you're totally outclassed. Like the Patriots will be favored, but the Saints have a chance to win. Say you win that game 2-4. I mean, you're at 2-4. Like you can't say there is no chance this team makes the playoffs. Like they still could. And if that's the case, then Spencer Rattler deserves to be out there until that is no longer the case. And at that point, I think let's go see what we have in Tyler Shuck. Now, if he keeps winning and the Saints are 6-6 or something at Thanksgiving, then you keep Rattler out there. I mean, like, look, you don't bench players in the NFL when they're keeping you in playoff contention. So we're not there yet. We're also not at the point where we're going to keep Spencer. Norm's laughing at me. We're not at the point where we're going to keep Spencer Rattler out there for the whole season. I'm not announcing that or anything, but I'm also not saying you go make the switch because he's Stefan says the lacking accuracy is the main problem. Yeah, again, you can definitely poke holes in Spencer Rattler's game. There's no question. He prevents the yards after catch for his guys sometimes. The Alvin Kamara's fumble against the 49ers, I blame that one on Rattler. It was not an accurate throw. Kamara caught it really awkwardly kind of against his helmet and shoulder pad. And when he gets hit, he loses the ball. Like that's on Rattler. I mean, yeah. And there's been other times. There's the would have been touchdown pass to Brandon Cooks last week in Buffalo. Could have given the Saints the lead. Was a low throw. I mean, that's a throw an NFL quarterback has to make. So yeah, I agree with you as far as that goes. He's not out here throwing perfect games or looking like a Pro Bowler or anything like that. But he is giving you a chance to win games. Today, the Saints took that chance. Gives you another chance next week. We'll see if they can take that one. T. Brown, keep Ruiz on the sideline. Simpkins did a great job at right guard today. Again, Cesar Ruiz is going to have a spot when he comes back, but I tell you what, you didn't hear Torricelli Simpkins' name today, and that's usually a pretty good sign for a offensive lineman, particularly a guard. If you don't hear his name, it's because he's out there. He's not committing penalties. He's creating holes where they should be. The Giants have a really good pass rush, Spencer Rattler not only was he not sacked today, he wasn't even pressured that often. Part of that is Rattler, and I think that's one of Rattler's strengths is he can kind of get out of that pressure and keep himself upright and still make plays down the field or scramble. So, part of that is Rattler, but like Torricelli Simpkins in the O-line, I thought did a good job today. It was a pretty good day for the New Orleans Saints, man. And Jeff Duncan is on his way, so we are going to talk to him first. Around the NFC South, by the way, the Carolina Panthers come back and get a win over the Miami Dolphins. Wait, where's Jeff going? You can probably see him over there. He's crossing the field. He's going to go talk to somebody, who may tell him more information than I'm going to tell him. Anyway, Carolina Panthers come back and beat the Miami Dolphins 27-24. The other teams in the division, the Falcons, are off. They have their bye week. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this is impressive, boy. They go to Seattle, and they're up 13-0 at the 2-minute warning of the first half. And the Bucs have a lot of injuries, and the Saints found out how hard it is to play in Seattle. They've gone up there and just sort of punked the Seahawks in the first half. Let's see if they can hang on to it. Seahawks have the ball near midfield at the 2-minute warning, but the Bucs are leading 13-0 there. Sean Payton's Broncos, man, talk about comebacks. They were down 17-3 to the Eagles, came back and won 27-17. So we have an 0-4 team here at the Dome getting its first win. We had a 4-0 team in the Eagles getting its first loss in the same time window. The NFL, man, it's you're not going undefeated, you're not going winless. And there's still a couple of winless teams. The Bills are still undefeated. The Titans, who are losing right now, and the Jets, I believe, are still winless. But Giants got their first win last week. They give the Saints their first win this week. So, yeah, it's hard to go undefeated, hard to go winless in this league. Going to recap some Giants stats here as we wait for our crew to arrive. The New York Giants, they did run for 136 yards, 29 carries, 136 yards, 4.7 per carry. Cam Scatterbo, 15 carries, 59 yards. Jackson Dart, 7 carries for 55. That included a big 20-yard scramble. Giants started this game out like great, man. Daniel Bellinger, 4 catches for 52 yards. I think 2 of those for like almost 40 yards were on the first drive of the game. Scatterbo had 6 catches for 45 yards. Theo Johnson, 6 catches, 33 yards, and the 2 touchdowns. Giants came right down the field and scored easily twice. And I think the Giants have something in Jackson Dart. I really do. But the Saints were able to get a lot of pressure on him in the second half, force those quicker throws. More importantly, they were able to get the turnovers. This is obviously a very different game if Darius Slayton doesn't fumble at the end of the first half. If Cam Scatterbo doesn't fumble, the Giants were going in to maybe take the lead if they score a touchdown on that third quarter drive, or it was first play of the fourth quarter when Scatterbo fumbles there. So some game-changing plays by the Saints defense, but I still think kind of a work in progress. All right, here is Jeff. He's everywhere. He's talking to everybody.
Yes.
Now he's talking to us. Who'd you see over there?
I was talking to Blake Grupe, actually, who had an unbelievable tackle.
Did you look out for yourself? Because he might have.
Yeah. We were just laughing about it because he said he has to get up full speed momentum to actually be able to tackle an NFL player. And he said he thinks he had just enough momentum to bring that guy down. And I said, well, it looked like Tyler Shuck picked you up on the sidelines afterward. He said, yeah. He said, next thing I know, I was being lifted in the air. But that kind of summarized the day. You know, you haven't won a game in almost a year. You start the season 0-4. Everyone's kind of pressing. So I think to finally be able to get over the hump, you could feel it. I mean, I don't know how many game balls were kept today. Jordan Howden kept a game ball. Rashid Shaheed kept a game ball. Kool-Aid McKinstry kept 2 game balls. Kellen Moore got a game ball. So it was that kind of day for this team. Yeah, Rattler had one as well. So I just feel like it was a long time coming for these players. You know, they grind in the off season. They spend a lot of time working and come close a lot of times. And so to finally get over the hump today with a kind of a breakout performance, 5 turnovers, really took control of this game. You know, it's hard to believe they were down 14-3.
Yeah.
And just, scored the rest of the way. I think 23 points unanswered. So kind of cool to see the celebration out there today. You can kind of see it's a mixture of joy and relief at the same time because kind of get the monkey off your back.
No doubt about it. I mean, 26-14, which, by the way, we should mention our man Norm's prediction was 27-13. So he's off by 1 point on each team. That's pretty darn good.
I saw Norm near the end of the game and congratulated him. He was by far the best.
That's right.
Which wouldn't take much with our group.
His optimism paid off this week. Saints look good.
Right.
You are not going to get 5 straight turnovers every week, but, man, the Saints defense was opportunistic today.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about on the podcast the other day. You know, rookie quarterbacks like this, it's going to be a lot of highs and lows for the Giants with Jackson Dart. There's going to be days like this, maybe even halves like this, half to half. Those growing pains that you go through with a young quarterback, are real. It happens all the time, and I felt like things went easy for him that first week, and it's never that easy in the NFL, and we saw that today. I mean, I thought he played well at times. I think he does have a bright future. Clearly belongs in the league. His athleticism kind of pops off the page, but he had some rookie moments as well, and I thought the Saints took advantage of that.
Yeah, no doubt. He had the fumble, also the 2 interceptions to Kool-Aid late. On offense, this whole quarterback discussion is going to continue throughout the whole season. Spencer Rattler made the big play when he needed to make the big play today. He gets the 87-yarder to Shaheed. Still struggling in the red zone, but when you have a lead, he didn't make any mistakes. How would you grade his performance today?
Yeah, I think what I thought of Spencer Rattler coming into today, I feel the same way after today. I don't feel any stronger about him. I don't feel any less impressed with him. I think the thing that he's doing, though, that is very important is he's not turning the ball over. He's keeping the Saints out of bad plays, and that's huge. I mean, there's an easy – you can fall into that easy trap of trying to do too much, especially when you're a young player, and he's not falling into that trap. And I think you have to give – in addition to him, you have to give credit to the coaching staff. I think they've done a good job of giving him a lot of easy buttons, if you will. That's a phrase a lot of people use these days, to find easy completions and to keep him out of harm's way. And I think they're running the ball well enough on the early downs. We saw a lot more Kendre Miller today. It'd be interesting to see what his snap count was. I bet it was probably a career high today. I think they're leaning into that identity as well. And if they get the running game going, they keep producing with the running game and Taysom Hill being involved in that, then that's going to lead to more of these shots down the field like we saw today with Shaheed. And then things will really start coming together for this offense. And the other thing I like with Rattler is he's really good at picking his spots, when to use his legs, when to get outside of the pocket. Did that a couple times a day just to keep the chains moving on third down. And that's going to be important because it's not always going to be that easy. This offense doesn't have enough dynamic playmakers to just blow people out. I mean, it was kind of a slog today, but it was helped by all the big plays by the defense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you need big plays to win in this league, especially if you're just not going to exert your will down to down. And the Saints are not in a spot to do that.
Yeah.
Need big plays. They got big plays. They got Jonas Sanker's fumble return at the end of the first half. They obviously got Jordan Howden's big play. They got Shaheed's big play and Kool-Aid's 2 interceptions. So, I mean, bottom line, Jeff, we don't expect this team to win a ton of games, but as you said, you got to get that monkey off your back at some point. And they're able to do it relatively early before it becomes too much of a storyline.
I just felt like going into this game, we talked about this. A lot of times in this league, at least from my experience, games like this where you're kind of evenly matched, it comes down to who's the hungriest team. And I think clearly we saw today the Saints were hungrier than the Giants. They needed this win. They were a desperate team, 0-4. The Giants had just come off a big home win against the Chargers. They're a little bit fat and happy. I mean, they came into this, they started up 14-3. So it wasn't like they just, took the game lightly. But the Saints showed just how hungry they were once the momentum started going. Now, can they follow this up? I have to say, I like what I heard in the locker room afterward. A lot of the leaders on the team very quick to talk to the younger players about not getting too full of yourself, 24-hour rule. I know those are cliches, but it really seemed resonant in there today. So it'll be interesting to see if they can follow this up. They're back here at home, another winnable game against the New England Patriots, who are playing better this year. I think they're going to give Buffalo all they can handle tonight, by the way.
I agree.
But it'll be interesting to see if they can follow this performance up. They're not going to get an 86-yard or whatever fumble return for a touchdown, probably an 87-yard, touchdown. Those aren't going to happen. They're going to have to earn it a little bit, and we'll see how they respond.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, you're writing our daily column for the Times-Picayune Sports Front tomorrow and for NOLA.com tonight. You're just going to set the scene here. I'm looking forward to this one because this is, to me, more than anything about Kellen Moore getting his first win, about Spencer Rattler getting his first win, about some of these young guys, really tasting what it's like to have success in the NFL for the first time.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of players about, why they kept their game balls, what they're going to do with them, but also just in the moment, like Jordan Howden, it was really good scene on the sidelines. And after that long play, he had to wave off. He was on the kickoff coverage on the ensuing kickoff, and he was too tired to go out there. And they had to scramble and get somebody in there to man his spot on the kickoff coverage. And I was just talking to
Blake Grupe, I think.
Well, I was just talking to Grupe about him giving it up. I mean, what does he weigh? 170 pounds or something like that?
Less than I do, probably.
Yeah, you know, and he's out there giving it up. I mean, that's what this day was about, like just laying it all on the line to finally get over the hump. So it was nice to see that. You know, these guys, like I said, do work hard, and they come close before. So a lot of, you know, smiles on faces today. And we all know Kellen Moore's maybe got the biggest smile in that locker room. And he didn't turn it up, I heard, but Club Dub was rocking after the game with the fog machine.
All right. He's Jeff Duncan. He's going to go turn it up with the fog machine up in the press box and write this column. We'll let him hand off. Next up is Matthew Parrish, one of our beat writers from the Times-Picayune. And Matt, it's been a while since we've had a post-game victory conversation.
Yeah, guys were really excited about it. They were playing loud music in the locker room. It wasn't quite, you know, the lights were back to normal by the time we got in there, but guys were still pretty fired up, and it was a big win for them, and especially the way that they won to force 5 straight turnovers was impressive.
Yeah, there was a point early second quarter. It's 14-3 Giants, and it's just like, my God, if this team is going to get blown out by the Giants at home when you desperately need a win, what are we doing? But they responded to that moment.
No, they did, and they finally got some things corrected that they hadn't had happen. You know, the explosive pass game, we've talked about how it needed to be better. Great formation to get Rashid Shaheed open. You know, by going heavier personnel, the Giants aren't expecting pass there. Rashid Shaheed just blows by him and gets it wide open for the touchdown. And just other, you know, forcing the turnovers after those first 2 drives begin with touchdowns. Like, it was an impressive bounce back, given like how the game unfolded.
Yeah, and this Saints defense, you mentioned it, like, they're not a great defense. They've had some key injuries. We haven't mentioned this. They lost Justin Reed today to a concussion. You know, so you're without both starting safeties from the beginning of the season. You're without, Vernon Broughton on the defensive line. Like, just not a great. Obviously, Chase Young, not a great defense, but they just kept coming up with plays today. So some of that's the Giants making mistakes. Jackson Dart drops the ball, but Brian Brzee had a huge punch out. Demario Davis forced a fumble. Like, you've got to give some credit to them for coming up big in those moments.
Yeah, and I think they're young players. They're playing well. We were just like, I'm sure Rod will bring this point up because we were just talking about it over there before I went on. But, you know, for Jonas Sanker to be in position, Jordan Howden is still relatively young in the NFL. Like, you need some of these younger players to kind of step up, and I think they got that today.
Yeah, absolutely. Big picture, the Saints are 1-4. They're still not a good football team. You know, we'll see how they build on this, but I think more than anything, and tell me if you have a different takeaway, but like just getting that monkey off their back was very important.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Spencer Rattler, especially beginning his career 0-10, you know, he said he wasn't bothered by it, but I do think it is a relief. And then same with Kellen Moore, you know, to start 0-4, to be in 3 of the 4 games particularly close, like they needed to finish. And this one came down, I mean, it didn't quite come down to the wire, but there was a moment where it seemed like, oh, is this going to turn back? Like after it was 19-14 and they had to settle for that 28-yard field goal, it was, oh God, are they really going to, like, even with all these turnovers, is it going to, you know, go the other way? And they didn't, you know, that they came up big when they had to.
All right. He's Matthew Parrish. You can read his stuff in the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com. All right. Luke Johnson is going to be next on the show. I'm going to try not to touch you or I'll get a roughing the passer call. But we got to see a win today.
Yeah. It's I don't know the exact number, but Duncan brought it up in the post game. Close to 300 days since the last time they got a win. Feels like it. I mean, shoot, we didn't even get one in preseason, right?
No, had a tie, but that was it. Yeah, December 14th or something. So 300 minus, it's probably about 300 days, and even longer since you had a home win. That was the Browns game. Taysom Hill recovered from an ACL surgery without the Saints getting a home win the entire time. But look, this type of a season, you're going to take whatever you can get, and the Saints had some positive moments today.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of fun. I mean, like they hit the big play to Shaheed, like we've been waiting on that. The turnovers were obviously like crazy and weird and a lot of fun. The dome was really like I thought really good energy for a lot of the second half of that game. They really woke up after the Shaheed touchdown. I just think it was a fun game to cover today. It was a fun game to be a part of, obviously, unless you're a Giants fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them in the Dome today. They're probably regretting that decision right now. But, like, I think that we saw it in the first 4 weeks of the season that Kellen Moore and his staff obviously have these guys playing hard. They were played really tough with 3 really good teams, and they got blown out by a 4th really good team. But you could see that the building blocks were there. They just needed to put it all together. And while I don't think they put it all together today, the offense only had the 1 touchdown. Blake Grupe missed another couple field goals. They had another couple like stuff in the return game that was really unpleasant. They're going to have to fix a lot of stuff. I thought for the most part this was their best game of the season that they've played. And yeah, a lot of fun to cover.
Yeah, it was. You got to see Spencer Rattler and Kellen Moore both speak after the game. What could you tell what getting NFL win number 1 meant to those guys?
I think less with Spencer Rattler, who's pretty guarded when he's behind a podium, and I think that was still true today, even after picking up his first career win. He said the right things. It meant a lot to him. He's gonna cherish this memory. But I think you could see it a little bit more plainly on Kellen Moore's face. Yeah, he's somebody who, like, we have talked about this. The players talked about it a lot today. He's somebody who's always, like, happy, optimistic, that sort of thing. That guy's always got a smile on his face, even when they're 0-4. So you could tell that getting that first one out of the way today was really important to him. And I'm sure it was super important to Spencer Rattler. It was just, there wasn't like, it wasn't like this big, I've done it finally.
No breaking down tears or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing too emotional.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good sign. It means they expect more to come.
Yeah, I think they do. We'll see. It's 1 out of 5. But like I said, I mean they were playing really feisty brand of football for most of those first 4 weeks, even when they were racking up 4 straight losses, and they finally played somebody in their peer group today, and they beat them by double digits. So it wasn't perfect. The Giants got off to a pretty good start offensively. Jackson Dart had 2 touchdowns, and I think their first 2 drives were both scoring drives. But like after that, they locked in. They made the plays they needed to make offensively. They made more than enough plays that they needed to make defensively, and that all adds up to a fun game and a win.
Let's nitpick before you go.
Yeah.
Is it time to have a Blake Grupe conversation?
It's either Blake Grupe or it's something within that whole operation. Like obviously, like field goal kicking it always comes down to the kicker, but like there's 3 guys involved in that play. And there's the snapper and the holder and the kicker. And if it's not the operation, it's definitely Blake. But we're talking about how many misses is he up to now for the year? 5?
Which is like, that should be in today's NFL. That's like what you get for the season.
I'd say, it's about what he missed last season, right? He missed about 5 kicks last season. So, I'm sure he would be the first to tell you it's not acceptable. Even though one of his misses was from 50 plus today, you expect him to make those kicks.
Yeah.
He expects himself to make those kicks. And at this stage of the season where you're talking about 5 missed kicks in 5 games, like there has to be some sort of a conversation within the organization, whether it's about their confidence in Blake Grupe, their confidence in how the entire operation is running. They will have a better sense of that than we will. But something's not right there, and they need to figure it out.
All right. He's Luke Johnson, beat writer for the Times-Picayune. You can read his work at NOLA.com. And finally, we'll make the handoff here to Rod Walker, and he'll finish it up here. And Rod, I finished up with Luke picking a few nits. I'm going to start with you. Red zone offense. Let's start there. Saints were 0 for 4 in the red zone today, or 0 for 3? 0 for 3 all field goals. A couple other times they got closer, close to the red zone, and also settled for field goals. I kind of tend to think that Shaheed touchdown is a little bit of lipstick on a pig today, because outside of that, this offense really didn't do a ton.
Yeah, they weren't great today at all. I don't know how many yards they finished with. I thought Kendre had some good runs, but outside of that, I don't think the offense played well. The red zone, if they scored a touchdown or 2 in the red zone, this game's not even – it's not close. It's 12-point win.
Or if Grupe can kick field goals,
this game could have really got out of hand if they had taken care of business with both of those 2 things, and they didn't. But, they won, and that's – I'll try to focus on the positives for the first time, because we haven't had a chance to do that.
That's much. Right. And the flip side of that is you can get away with that stuff when you have the type of big plays the Saints had today.
Yeah, you get 5 turnovers, you're going to probably win the game, I bet. I don't know what the stat is for 5 turnovers, but I bet it's really high as far as your percentages of winning. You probably
in the 80, 85, 90%, I'm sure, if you get that many turnovers.
Especially when you don't turn it over yourself like that. When you're +5, we'll have to stat head that. That's got to be over 90%.
Yeah.
And that's how you win games.
Yeah. And to me, that's a credit to Spencer Rattler. I mean, he hadn't been just lighting it up, but I mean, he is taking care of the ball, and that's giving his team a chance to win. I mean, so that's all you can. Well, it's not all you can ask for, but that's all you can. I mean, that's what he's giving you right now, and that's good.
Yeah. Rattler's bomb to Shaheed. Most important play of the season so far. I mean, it's 14-6 at that point. Saints are backed up in their own end and just hit this game-changing play.
Yeah, I mean, I think that play. I mean, the Dome has been dead for a while, and that play, like, it just reinvigorated. What's the word? Reinvigorated the crowd and the team.
I'm just realizing I forgot to ask Luke about leaving the press box for both that play and Jordan Howden's fumble recovery. What a missed opportunity. He had gone back to either get a drink or go to the bathroom or something both times, and the Saints pop 80-plus yard touchdown.
We need to get him to do that every game, maybe. And, maybe we should tell Kellen more that we can make that happen. But yeah, I mean that play was huge, man. It's been a while since the Saints they haven't had an explosive play like that. I mean, they had like one explosive, I think, coming to this game, a 25-yard or longer. But that play was huge, and it was just definitely got the Saints going today.
And then, I mean, the other one, first play of the fourth quarter, the Giants are 12 yards away from retaking the lead, despite everything that had gone well for the Saints. Giants punch that in from 12 yards out, and they have the lead in the fourth quarter. Instead, Brian Brzee punches that ball out from Cam Scatterbo, and there goes Jordan Howden.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge play. And I mean, that definitely kind of sealed things. And there's another play on the flea flicker when who made the play on the flea flicker?
The other safety, Terrell Burgess.
Yes. Yeah. He made the big play there. I mean, that was a play that could have really hurt this team. But, I mean, they just made enough plays today to win. And they needed something good to happen, and it finally happened. They were the favorites today, and they took care of business.
We don't say that about the Saints too often because they don't have business to take care of as far as just beating bad teams. They get the Patriots next week, and the Patriots are not a bad team. They're also not some juggernaut that is going to come in here and just, beat you up if you play well. How do the Saints build on this? Can they build on this? Do we think that that's any sort of an expectation?
I think getting the first win is very important, and I think you can build on it. I mean, because if they had lost this game today, I mean, I think this season was really going to go to a really dark place. So I think winning this game, you can build off momentum. Guys starting to believe and trust each other a little bit more when it could have gone the other direction had they lost. So I think there's definitely a chance to build off of this, and I think the Patriots are the kind of team that you kind of want coming in because Patriots will be the favorites, I would imagine, by a little bit.
I think it's the look-ahead line was 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I expect, and it might move a little bit, but it's a winnable game. I don't think I won't pick the Saints to win, but it is a winnable game, and they have to have a lot of things to go right.
And we'll talk more about that this week, but the Patriots have this huge divisional game. Like, if they have any hopes of winning the AFC East, got a huge game in Buffalo tonight. Like, it's kind of another hangover spot, especially if they were to play well in that game and either win or lose close, to come in here next week and say, this is a Saints team we should beat and all that. Like, the Saints have another opportunity going forward. And I think when we talk about Rattler and how long he's going to be the starter and all those things, and I said before you all came on, I know it sounds silly to say, the Saints are in playoff contention, but to me, as long as you are realistically like, hey, we could do this, we could stay in this until, past Thanksgiving, I think Rattler stays the starter as long as that is the case. Now, it may not be by Thanksgiving. It may be, 8 or 9 losses, and then you just go ahead and pull the plug. But
I think you see Shuck at some point. But I think for right now, I think Rattler's done. He's done enough, I think, I don't think he's done anything to lose the job yet. And we don't even see what's going on in practice. So, I mean, he may be like further ahead of Tyler Shuck than we even realize. But I think he's playing solid enough to keep the job until this team's eliminated.
All right, he's Rod Walker. We're going to wrap things up on the Saints Insider postgame show. Saints 26, Giants 14. A happy postgame show for Saints fans for the first time since last December. Also against the Giants. So they got to get a win against somebody else for this to really be counted as momentum.
Or they can play the Giants every week.
Like it was the Browns and then the Giants. And part of it is if you beat bad teams, they get the Panthers coming in here in a few weeks.
The Jets coming here.
Yeah, the Jets coming here.
Titans. They go to Tennessee.
They go to Tennessee. They got some bad teams on the schedule. The Dolphins. And so there may be more wins to come, but celebrate them as they come. For our producer, Spencer Urquhart, manning the comments behind the scenes, and our cameraman, Norman Bell, and crack prognosticator, Norman Bell, who almost nailed the score. Also for Jeff Duncan, Matthew Paris, Luke Johnson, and Rod Walker, I'm Zach Ewing. Thank you for watching the postgame show.